Terminator Dark Fate stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Mackenzie Davis, Natasha Reyes, Gabriel Luna, and Diego Boneta. I just had to say it just be safe, that those are the ones. I don't want to ruin their names. But this is technically the sixth in the Terminator franchise. This is basically a sequel to the second one where Linda Hamilton is back, Arnold Schwarzenegger is back. There's a new chosen one and another Terminator from the past, or technically the future, is coming to today's timeline to try to kill the chosen one. So what I like about this movie, the action directed in this movie is wide shot and you could tell everything happening. The very first highway scene is really well done. Not a lot of CGI, of course, you had to do some CGI elements, but it was actually, looked like it was on camera, on frame, greatly edited, greatly directed. The actors did great in this, and it was a fun action set piece that reminded me of the Matrix Reloaded highway scene as well. But the problem with this, the further you go along with this movie, it gets to more CGI fest, especially the last waterfall scene or the dam scene, my fault, as well as in the detention center in Texas. And of course, they had to do a couple jabs of the whole politicalness in that scene. So it's a little weird that they would put it in there, but it kind of makes sense why, because, it is a true thing happening. But, I'll slide that off because that's not the writing I'm worried about. But we'll go with the good again. Like I said, the directing is good. The editing's great. I like this score in this movie, the soundtrack, as well as the acting. All the acting involved by all parties are great, and I enjoy what they're doing. Except maybe the 9 series Terminator. He's fine in his part. He's given what he's given, but he's not as demeaning or scary as, T2 bad guy, the T1000, I believe what it's called. But the main issue with this story, it messes with the lore of the Terminator way too much. For example, the first 5 minutes, you're like, okay, I see that you're trying something different, so let's see if the payoff is there, but there is no payoff. As well as just the writing of what you're doing with the Terminator lore. I'm going to say it again, the lore is so jacked up in this movie, it doesn't make sense. Skynet doesn't exist no more, okay? Fine, Skynet doesn't exist no more, but tell me who exists, what they are, and how powerful they are. They're Legion. They're Legion. And that is all you get. You get their name and that they made this hybrid Terminator, which they don't explain how they actually created a metamorphic metal Terminator that hybrids into a weird T1000 skin that they could conform. They don't really explain that at all in this movie. You're just supposed to know that Legion made this. But who is Legion? In T2, you go to Skynet's headquarters. You see what the scientist is doing with the technology. Here, just believe it, because you know what? Because we're fucking up the timeline. We're fucking up the lore. So you just gotta believe what we're telling you on paper. It's like, in the screenwriting, so the story is by like 5 people, and the actual writing is done by 3 people. It sounds like there were 7 or 8 people that just wanted their own story in this, and that is the biggest fault with this movie. You're messing with the lore. You're messing with everything the Terminator stood for in the past. Yeah, I know you're trying to get rid of 3. You're trying to get rid of Salvation. You're trying to get rid of Genesis. Even though I think those movies have better scenes and scenarios than this last one. But like I said, this last one, it is still a fun time as an action movie. So let's put it that way. As an action movie, the great highway scene in the beginning, the detention center scene in the middle was okay. And then, I don't know if there was a real Air Force. And then how did Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, know this major in the Air Force to have the EMP, grenades? And I don't know if that base actually exists. Out of Briggs, I think it was the Briggs Air Force Base. I don't even know if that exists, because I don't know if there's a C5. Maybe it's a guard base or reserve base, but I could be completely wrong. But yeah, the last set piece, and I swear to God, the dam, I thought they were in Las Vegas at the Hoover Dam for a second. I'm like, where are they going? I'm confused right now. But yeah, the timeline, that's the biggest fault, is the writing and timeline of the story with Terminator Dark Fate. Like I said, the actors were given a script. They did the best they can with it. There are some funny scenes. The action is good, except the very last scene, it's like, it was just over the top, popcorny. unlike T2. Of course, it was over the top in T2, but it was all realistic and believable. Here, it was just like the whole it was the underwater sequence that really bugged me. Like, I understand being the damn turbines. Okay, I understand that. That makes sense. But the whole underwater Humvee thing, that was the action set piece that got me. I was like, this is kind of stupid, as well as just the lore of you ruining the lore so much that you're just like, and it was in the writing, like, how you're really looting up the lore, because in T2, Arnold Schwarzenegger says he can't know feelings. I mean, you can if you change the chip, but all of a sudden he does something in the first 5 minutes, and now he has feelings, and then he's married. Everyone knows that now he's married. He has a relationship, and now he's in a non-physical relationship for 30, how many years? Let's go 20 years. So no sex at all? No sex for 20 years. It's just basically him being a dad and the mom not wanting any. It's the writing, the lore. It's frustrating. But Terminator Dark Fate, great acting and great directing. I like the editing. I like the actors. I like the scenarios. Fun, like, and also like a drone's falling from the sky and no one's gonna like, oh wait, maybe these aren't the bad guys. Maybe the person controlling the drones, and people don't. The body count it doesn't make sense how people are getting killed and no one's noticing. And also him just going up to a Texas Ranger. Where can I find a helicopter? How would a Texas Ranger know where a fucking helicopter is? Terminator Dark Fate will receive a 2.5 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 50%. So let's see the critics' news scores gave this film. So you have critics a 72% with 291 of them, and audience score an 84% with 8,660. And here's critic consensus. Terminator Dark Fate represents a significant upgrade over its immediate predecessors, even if it lacks the thrilling firepower of the franchise's best installments. I have to agree. I don't think I've ever given a negative review to a movie because of the writing and story. Like, the problem with this, they expect you to know it and don't explain it. Like, give us some, what's Legion? How's the Series 9000? How can it do what it can do? Why is Skynet, okay, I understand why Skynet's gone. Why cannot Arnold Schwarzenegger have feelings for another person? How can all this happen? I can't just basically say, oh, it's happening, and you must believe it because I have it right on paper.
It will be partly cloudy.
Anyway, my frustration made my phone go crazy. So do you agree? What was it? What are the scores again? That's my... What? 84, 72, or my 50. Chase out the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Love no things Bhutan, Utopia, Blue Futonians. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Man, it was the writing. The writing. You fucked up the lore way too bad. And now there's going to be no more Terminator movies. Good job.